You know, I feel like one day they're just not gonna print physical manga anymore. And to be honest, that kind of breaks my heart. What's good, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Nerd Corner. I'm the kid that never knows best, and in today's video I want to talk to you all about physical media, and that goes for manga, anime, video games, and everything else, right? Because I don't know about you all, but I'm a collector. And when I say I collect, I mean I want physical copies of the things that I own, because getting things in a digital format just doesn't really make me feel like I have true ownership of something. Like, if it's not tangible, I don't feel like it's mine. And I have many reasons for that, and many reasons why I prefer having physical copies over digital. But that's one of the ones that's really up there, right? Because if I can't touch it, like if there's no form there, like if I can't feel it, if I can't show it to people, if I can't take a picture of it, like I don't feel like I truly own something. And I don't know if any of you guys out there feel like that as well, but I know a Manga Hoarder actually tweeted me saying you don't own it, you just own a license to use it. Digital media you've bought can be taken away from you at any time. And I haven't looked into that, but I'm going to trust her. I'm going to take her word on it and assume that that's probably true, which is honestly news to me, and I wasn't even fully aware of that, but I guess it does make sense, which is just all the more reason why I prefer to have physical copies of all my media, whether it be anime, manga, video games, or anything else that I collect. I know for sure that I'm definitely not alone on the sentiment, because actually quite a few of you retweeted the tweet and replied to me saying that you guys feel the same way, or just, co-signing what I said, because that's what inspired this video, right? There was a tweet about how PS Vita games are no longer going to be physically made. Like, any PS Vita games that come out from now on, I guess, are going to be only digital only. Like, there's not going to be no more physical copies of PS Vita games, which came as a bit of a surprise to me. Even though I don't own a PS Vita and I don't collect those games, it's just to hear something like that was just like, damn, we really are reaching like a true digital age where sometime in the future, and I don't know if it's going to be within the foreseeable future, if it's going to be in my lifetime, but I do think we are going to reach a point where there's just no more print media, there's just no more physical copies of things, everything's just digital, everything's just virtual. And to me, that's kind of sad, because I'm a collector of physical media, I prefer to have everything that I have physically. So when I saw that article, I quote tweeted it from the tweet that I saw, and I said, I fear the day physical media comes to an end entirely. I prefer physical copies of games, manga, anime, and everything else. Digital is cool and all, but I like my shit to be tangible. I don't really feel like I own something when it's digital. And that's just really how I feel. And like I said, I have my reasons. Let's look at manga, for example. There's just no comparison between reading manga physically and reading it digitally. Reading it physically, and I know all my collectors out there will agree with me, is just by far superior. And for many reasons. Like, I think this is obviously my opinion, but I think there are a few objective things that do come into play with this, such as, getting professional translation, getting professional translators to actually convert the text from Japanese to English, as well as professional, retouchers and artists to go ahead and fix up any little things that have to do with like the speech bubble, so that you can change the text, or, what have you, just little redraws, whatever little minor adjustments need to be made. It's all professionally done, which means that usually, not always, but usually it's of higher quality. The biggest thing for me though, and I know a lot of you out there who, buy and read physical manga will agree, is the artwork, because scans just cannot, they just cannot compare with having the book physically in your hands. The quality, the artwork, it's so much clearer, cleaner, so much more crisp. It's just always going to be better. Like, the greatest scans in the world do not compare to having a physical book in your hands, and that's just how it's always going to be. I don't care how high the resolution is, it's never going to be the same. And for me, that's probably the biggest reason why I collect physical manga, because I started off buying these volumes, like I was like, oh, I kind of want to own all of Dragon Ball just to say that I have it, just because I think it would be cool, whatever, what have you. But the more I got into manga collecting and the more manga I started reading, I couldn't go back to reading manga online, because you guys know I'm a huge advocate of obviously buying manga, sustaining the industry. I make a whole series of videos on that concept of, supporting the anime manga industry, keeping it alive, collecting physical copies of stuff. Then again, I guess you can also do it by collecting digital, but I'm an advocate for physical. But anyway, the point is, when I got into collecting physical manga, I couldn't read online anymore, because I used to read scans when I was younger, and then even when I got older, when I was a teenager, I was still reading some stuff online. But when I started collecting, the actual volumes, I couldn't go back, because the quality of it was just so much better in terms of translation, in terms of art, and just the feel of the pages, the smell of the book when it's close to your face. Like, I don't know, I get so much pleasure and so much enjoyment from that. Not like, not in that way, but you know what I'm saying? It feels really good to have the book in your hands when I'm reading, and there's just no comparison. When I'm just sitting there staring at a screen, I don't feel as engaged, I don't feel as in tune with this series that I'm reading. That's not to say that I can't enjoy it. Well, at this point I feel like I can, but it's not to say that a series wouldn't still be enjoyable. It's just that the way I am now, in my opinion, just from my experience, it's always going to be better in the actual physical format. Alright, so what about anime and video games? Because you can make a pretty sound argument as to why you prefer a physical, copy of a manga volume and why you think it's superior. But, anime and video games, they are like digital media. Like, whether you have them physically or digitally, the way you go about consuming them is going to be the same. Like, you're going to need an electronic device to actually view them or play them or whatever the case may be. So why bother wasting the plastic and the paper and the cardboard or whatever it is to, actually have these physical copies? I'll keep it real with you. Other than what Manga Hoarder said before about, you owning like a licensed tool or whatever, not truly owning the media, I can't properly put into words why I want physical copies of my anime and my games. It's a certain sense of satisfaction. Like, it's gratifying to be able to hold it, to be able to have it, to say this is mine. Especially somebody like me who, is both a collector as well as a photographer. For those of you who don't know, I'll also do photography, both as a hobby and I guess, to make money. I wouldn't really call myself a professional. That's not the point. The point is, I like taking pictures of the stuff that I own too, not to brag or to show off, but just because I like taking cool pictures. And so being able to take pictures of all my manga volumes, of my video games, of my anime or whatever, is just something that I personally enjoy. And you can't do that with like screenshots of your digital copy of Fooly Cooly or the little square panel on your PSN homepage of Persona 5. Like, it's not the same. Like, you can't have as much fun with that. And for somebody like me, and again, I think a lot of you out there would agree, it's just so much more satisfying and so much more fulfilling, like so much more reassuring to have it in your hands. When you have these things digitally, I feel like you don't really have anything to show for it. You spend this money and there's nothing tangible there. And that goes especially for manga. And I know we're on, anime and video games, but especially for manga, right? Because you can buy, retail price for a manga volume is like $9.99, right? For your standard Viz Media Shonen Jump title, $9.99. A lot of digital volumes I see go for like $6.99. So you're spending almost the same amount of money for something that I feel like is less deserving of that money, because like, resources went into printing this. They had to ink, paper, they had to pay people to translate and all this whatever. And I guess you still get translators and editors and stuff for this, but ink and paper, all right? So let's just say even just those two things, that's worth spending money on. You have something to show for the money you spent. You don't really have like something to show people like, oh yo, I spent money on this volume, you'll check it out. Like, you feel what I'm saying? And I guess even the same thing can be said for anime and video games, because you can buy all these games on the PSN store or the Xbox store or whatever, and it's the same price. Persona 5 when it came out was $60. You get it digitally, boom, it's on your console. But I feel like I'm getting more value, more from my money when I'm getting something that I can actually hold, that I can actually touch, because you get this slip cover, you get this steel bookcase, whatever, you get the actual disc. The disc isn't in here because it's actually in my PS4, but you get what I mean, right? I feel like there's more value in buying physical copies, even though it takes up shelf space, even though some people see it as a waste. I don't. Stuff like storage and shelf space is never something that I've concerned myself with, and I know that it is a genuine problem for some people, but I don't care. I would love for my room to be filled to the brim with like all of these manga volumes and anime cases and collector's editions and all these video games, because this is what I live for. This is my passion. This is the stuff that I love. So like, I don't have a problem with that. But I don't know, maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm just old-fashioned, because I've been told before, many times, throughout my life, that I have an old soul. And there are certain things that I kind of am old-fashioned with, I guess, and I have more of a traditional mindset in certain things. And that's not to say that I'm not a modern dude, because like I'm a regular guy, right? I just think that, in certain areas, in certain ways I perceive things, certain ways I choose to live my life, they're just a little bit, old school. And I guess maybe me preferring physical media is just one of those tales of that. But I don't know, maybe some of you out there agree. So let me know, what about y'all? Do you prefer physical or do you prefer digital, and why? I gave my reasons. I don't want this video to go on too much longer, but yeah, I just feel like it's just much more satisfying, much more gratifying for me to have a physical copy. I feel like I have something to show for it. I feel like I'm getting more value. I just feel more comfortable with being able to show or hold or feel or actually see what it is that I purchase, as opposed to digital. And even though digital still has its advantages, like it doesn't take up as much shelf space, it's a lot more convenient in a lot of cases, because you don't have to run around moving all these discs or whatever, or actually taking volumes with you, or whatever the case may be, whether it be anime, manga, video games. Digital can be a lot more convenient, but for me, it's just not the same. It's just not the same. And for me, it is disappointing to think that eventually one day there probably will just be no more physical media, and I don't know if that'll come at a point where I'm even alive anymore, let alone collecting still, anime, manga, video games, or anything else. But I hope I don't live to see that day, honestly. And maybe that's selfish, but that's just me. I don't want to be a part of a completely digital world, because that's just not, I don't know. I just don't want that. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Hit this video with a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you haven't already, so you can stay tuned for all this content I plan on bringing. And with all that being said, for life today, and remember, nothing can happen to you swing the bat. I don't know why I did that so early. Later.